We have to displace everything that capitalism produces. That does require mass movements of people sort of seizing the streets, immobilizing the system and taking it in their own hands. Tunisia, there's an insurrection in Tunisia. Again, it's fiddling around with maybe another set of parliamentarians. And you will find that Tunisian energy will go down the tubes if people do not take over the whole of society. We have to be very assertive that we do have a vision for the future. The right wing has a vision for the future, and that's to clamp down on us. We have to have a vision for the future where we defeat them, and that must be in our psyche and in every part of our struggle. But obviously, this can only be done through mass struggle and solidarity. The positive things that we stand with this conference at the moment, because I've been through Socialist Work Action, and then we've been through APF. The very positive thing about this, we've started off, I'm pleased to see the LBGTR involved immediately. We are taking up the questions of oppression and bringing it right into our organisation and internationalism, comrade. We can only beat capitalism on a world scale, and our struggle must be about solidarity and unity.
The weapon of the oppressor is in the mind of the oppressed. And this conference must take that as a baseline for operating in the future, because we are totally responsible of what's happening. We can't say that the others are responsible. We are responsible. That's one thing. Everything is defined by courage. Courage is only one thing, is to face denial. The courage is only to face denial. For example, when we talk about poverty alleviation, we should talk about fear eradication within ourselves. So there is a lot of things that we must work in that direction for us to redefine ourselves. Because the speech of Vishwas is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's a historic speech, Vishwas. You don't have to be part. You have set up a milestone. But that milestone must be very, very cautious about not reorienting our thing in the opponent. We are, like this gentleman says, we are not an alternative. We are the force that drives.
I'm with you. I'm confident after this conference, there will be change in this country. We have a vocal and militant youth in this struggle of us. We need to have a political study academy for our youth. We need to unite to fight hunger, unite to fight unemployment. We need to unite to fight ecological destruction. I think it's a high time now for us to talk as one gentleman across the said it, that we must believe in action than to just talk and talk and talk and talk. And my appeal to all who is present here is that let's not fear to take a lead where we are living.
Point of view is we need to educate the people outside, but how are the communists going to do it if the empty spaces is in this building?
Yeah.
And my other thing is, I see the CDL is the alternative for us, because my main worry is the local elections is coming. The local government failed us so many times. Empty promises. So who I'm going to vote? GA, ANC, COP, whatsoever. I don't know what to do with my vote. And they said, my one slogan is no house, no vote. If I'm not going to vote, even if I'm going to score a better paper, it's still going to count in their favor. What are we going to do as comrades inside here?
It's between being anti-capitalist and being socialist. In terms of that transition, because as I'm going to try to argue tomorrow, is what we've become very good at being anti. We've become very good at being anti everything, but we've become very bad at being for things. And that's self-critical as well in terms of our entire experience. But fundamentally, for me, and I think this was addressed in both to a certain extent, fundamentally for me, it's the reclaiming. We can have all of the forms, all of the organizations in the world. We can have all the best ideas amongst ourselves, and we can convince ourselves and have a program and all the rest of it. But if the general public out there and the workers in poor in particular, who are supposedly the constituency that we are addressing and we want to mobilize, have other ideas and other things, then the failure, the historic failure of the left has been in communicating and relating to that without being arrogant, without being vanguardist, without being top-down. That seems to me to be a historic failure. To borrow from Ngugi, the fundamental thing is decolonizing the mind first. Because I've watched this in the APF, and I'm going to be self-critical here as well, and all of our organizations. We are very good at getting up on standing on platforms and speaking about all the things we stand for, and all the things, but we're very bad at practicing it amongst ourselves. We have dishonesty, we have lack of integrity, we have patriarchy, we have sexism amongst our own ranks. And if we're not willing to put a mirror up to ourselves, but we're willing to put a mirror up to society, right, and say all these things are bad, we stand for the good stuff. And yet, that worker, that Gobo in Soweto looks and goes, you're being a hypocrite. I saw you the other day how you treated that person, but then you're telling me that we should be in solidarity and humanity with each other. So to me, that it's about, Neville Alexander just, I think, got this absolutely right the other day when he wrote an opinion piece. He said the left must not be afraid to reclaim the language that the right has colonized, which is personal responsibility, self-reliance. These kinds of things have been colonized by the right wing. And so we've abandoned them. So we become, in a way, related to what it is that we oppose as to what it is that we stand for.